Hello and welcome to another episode of the Monday Mile podcast. Today, it's an early, fresh start and we're in Birmingham, linking up with a lady who defines the word inspiration. Known best as a professional dancer on BBC's Strictly Come Dancing, she's the perfect demonstration of resilience and determination. She is far more than the glitz and glam of the ballroom. She is a powerful campaigner, having lived life with Crohn's disease publicly, sharing her journey through her documentary. She's a cancer survivor and has become a fierce advocate for early checks and proactive healthcare, using her platform to support and make change. Aimee Dowden, MBE, you are a role model. It is an absolute privilege to walk a mile with you.
Ah, thanks, Ames. Thanks for that introduction.
Where are we right now, Ames?
We are in Birmingham because I'm here for the Strictly Live tour, but also, this is actually, I just live not far up the road with my husband, Ben. He's from Dudley, just outside of Birmingham.
The accent wouldn't tell me
No,
that,
because I'm a Welsh
however.
girl, yes.
A very proud
an English man. Yeah, and I run a dance academy up here, Art in Motion Dance Academy, and this is where my husband and I have settled for over a decade now.
Nice, so you can really show me the way around the canals. And we're actually walking on the path that is going to take us where?
To the NEC Birmingham Arena, Utility Arena, sorry, because I've got dress run today.
Very
and
exciting.
we open tomorrow.
Because she's back.
I'm back.
She's
and I'm
back
dancing
dancing
again, which is lovely because obviously our journey was cut unexpectedly short, and we didn't even know the last dance we did was going to be our last dance, and that was really tough. You know, even when you get voted out, you have that last dance. Does that make sense? You have to dance off, and then you have that last. We just didn't even know that.
And then you get the little dance at the end.
Everyone we did, and we had a 9 and 8. We were a great position on the leaderboard. We didn't know at that time that was going to be our last dance together.
You were on a great trajectory.
Yeah.
But we've come full circle.
We have. So we're in celebration mode 2025. Positive. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling grateful to be alive. Grateful to be back dancing on tour. This time last year, I doubted so many times that I'd ever get back on the dance floor because it was brutal when I went through a chemo and what it did to me. And you know what it's like, you're an athlete yourself. Dancers, the fellow dancers, I felt the gap was getting bigger and bigger between me and them because they were continuing to dance. I hadn't danced for 18 months. My body had put on weight, 2 stone. I hadn't been working on my flexibility. I had lost my hair. I lost all my confidence. I never knew if I'd ever get the stamina to be able to do 32 shows back to back, double show days ever again. And I just felt like my dancing ability and also my speed, my flexibility, everything had gone. When I now fast forward a year from feeling like that last year and I'm actually on an arena tour, I think to myself yesterday in rehearsal, I'm so proud of myself. I've just done a 10 till 10 back-to-back training days the last few days, and I'm up there with my fellow pros after what I've been through when there were so many times I never thought this was going to be possible again.
Your story is truly remarkable. When I think of you, the word resilience literally just comes to mind. I can't see you outside of that. You are such a positive ball of energy that manages to find a way over any hurdle that's been put in front of you. What does the word resilience mean to you?
Well, it's not something I actually think about. I think it's something I've had no choice. In order to survive, I've had to grit my teeth. And I think because at the age of 11, starting to suffer with Crohn's disease, long hospital pains, severe, excruciating pain. I think something at 11 years old that as a child you don't even realise that I had to instill. And I guess I was able to use that throughout my cancer treatment. I was used to long hospital stays, tests, pain, having, my dancing taken away from me. So in an awful situation of a cancer diagnosis, I had experience of having to dig deep and get through something. And I used the tools that I've developed throughout my Crohn's disease to get me through my cancer diagnosis. But with resilience, I think for me, I've had no choice.
I guess more often than not in life, resilience is something that is obtained through hardship. And sometimes it can be choice, whether it's physical resilience. However, yours has been both
To survive.
physical, mental,
Yes.
on every level. You have demonstrated that. Just quickly, for those people that are listening to the podcast,
Yes.
what is Crohn's for those that don't know? Because we've had a few guests on this podcast. Adele Roberts has had
Yes,
she has a stoma bag.
yes.
But I think in general, it is still something, obviously you're a powerful campaigner in that
Yeah.
space, that people don't know too
No.
much about.
It's not spoken about enough because no one wants to talk about your guts, bowels, poo, going to the toilet. And I'm trying my best to break down the stigma. But Crohn's disease is an inflammatory bowel disease. It's part of like Crohn's or colitis. It's inflammation to the bowel, but it can start from the mouth right through to the gut, and you can develop narrowing to the bowel, you can ulcers, inflammation can become life-threatening to some. Symptoms for myself is severe vomiting, constipation, pain, which I mean is excruciating pain, which makes me pass out. And if you think a woman is designed for childbirth and you
Yeah.
don't pass out during childbirth, when I have Crohn's flip, I can have like 4 to 5 blackouts because the pain is that much my body can't control.
That
I
is
get
terrifying.
swollen eyes, inflammation to my joints, my skin. But I'm very, very lucky that I work with the most incredible team, and a lot of my severe symptoms are now under control and in remission. And I'm so blessed to have such an incredible team. But unfortunately, Crohn's disease is a chronic illness. It's an illness that I will live with for the rest of my life. But strangely now, since my cancer diagnosis, people forget. Not forget, but it's all about house cancer. Whereas like, I'm hoping that that will be in 5 or 10 years time, I'll be given the all clear. But Crohn's is something I'll live with to the rest of my life. But yet nobody wants to speak about that with me anymore. It's the cancer, understandably, as well, as taking the forefront. But no, I still want to campaign as well for Crohn's disease. It doesn't get the coverage or the understanding, and like, it's debilitating. I know, like, I have family members, it takes over their lives. They're bedbound from it, they're tube fed from it. People have to have stoma bags. It changes people's lives.
And you don't have a stoma.
I don't. No, I'm very lucky there.
So how do you manage it? Because it blows my mind. When I see you dance physically, how are you juggling the Crohn's and dancing? Monday, you told me you had to have an injection. You're still juggling a multitude of health concerns
Yes.
and issues.
Let's go
all
this way.
towards the arena.
Let's go towards the arena.
All whilst putting on a very positive, smiley face.
Yeah, medication I'm on daily to keep under remission, and this is something that go on something, it might be for a few years, a couple of months, but then we need to change it. I can be on and off steroids. I'm not a fan of steroids, but once I have a flare-up, if it's the only thing, that will make me feel better. And that's tough because sometimes I can go on 8 steroids a day.
8 steroids a day.
It's not even more with my cancer. And your face goes like a moon face, your body changes, and then all of a sudden you have people online making comments. And when I was younger, that was so tough because there was that, or be in hospital and be in agony. And, people don't ever know what you're going through, and to make those nasty comments. I'll never forget when I was on steroids and ballooned like the steroids do to you. And I had accepted that because I was so ill at the time. I was in my late teens, and I was learning to accept that having to go on steroids is what's going to make me better, then that's okay. I'm still learning a lot about the condition and myself at that time. And you know what it's like, you're at a time where you're self-conscious anyway. But I bucked up the courage to do a competition, and I'll never forget a mother shouting out that I had a fat ass and a thick middle.
No. A dance competition and a
Yeah.
mum sat there.
Yeah, and since that day, every time I go on steroids, it's the first thing that comes to my mind now. So I'm so self-conscious. And I can remember speaking to somebody, a sports therapist, when Ben and I were going, for the major championships and going on to win Blackpool. Someone said to me, it's like having a piece of wood. If you put a nail in a piece of wood,
Yeah.
take the nail out, that wood is marked now forever. And that comment for me has marked me forever. Yeah, so I go on steroids, and I've had to learn to accept, the side effects that come with that. I'm on daily medication, a strict diet, and it's all about keeping my stress levels to a minimum as well. And people say, oh my goodness, isn't performing, being on strictly stressful? I'm like, no, you know what it's like. It's the adrenaline. That's not, for me, say, having to learn a dance routine, like last minute because you've got to cover for somebody on stage. That gives me an adrenaline rush that I love, that pressure.
Yeah.
Or, being with your celebrity partner and having to, seconds before you go on, calm their nerves, and they're going, we've forgotten the routine, and you're thinking in your head, I just really hope that this goes well in front of 10 million people. But that I thrive off. It's other stresses.
That, I can imagine the exhilaration is like that of presenting live TV, or I suppose for me, maybe landing a new trick back in the day in a competition. And you're just so high on life that it feels like in that moment, nothing can go wrong and nothing can be taken away from you.
And if it does go wrong, you even thrive off that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because then there's
a live performance.
Like piecing the puzzle together to fix it for the next time. Do you think there's an element of your dancing career where physically and mentally, as a professional athlete, you've learned elements of resilience in coming back that you've taken into your health scares?
And vice versa. So obviously I've been at times where I'm in true pain, and when you're in the studio back in the day doing stamina training, and I'm like, no, I can't push myself further. This is nothing compared to a Crohn's disease attack. And vice versa, absolutely. When you go to competitions and you're being knocked and you don't get the results you want, and you have to come back, you have to fight back. Yeah, absolutely. And rejection as well. And I've been seen for many years as being taken as a risk and not got jobs or partners, opportunities, as in dance partners, not strictly partners, because I was a risk. And that used to upset me and frustrate me, because I was already punished in my life for being given this condition that I never asked for, and I'd do anything in the world not to live with. Why then was I not getting opportunities and jobs because of it? It used to honestly upset me and frustrate me so much, because I couldn't do anything about it. And I used to say, but it doesn't say anything about my talents. It doesn't say anything about my work ethic, my determination. So why are you taking this opportunity away from me for something that's completely out of my control? I am punished enough by living with this condition every day for the rest of my life. And that used to anger me. But then I used to go, do you know what? I'll show you wrong. I'll prove you wrong. So I can remember 2 boys turned me down because I was a risk. When I was 21, it was like the amateur British final. And there was a space going. And those 2 other boys were in the semi-final with their partners. And so was Ben and I, and then we made the final. And then we went on to become British champions, and they never even made the final. So that was like, but I was seen as a risk. And then I was going on to Strictly Come Dancing, and actually both of them have messaged me and asked me to help them to get onto the show, which I, would always do.
But it's a little bit funny, the contrast.
Yeah, but back in the day I was at risk. So actually sometimes rejection or obstacles that got in the way because of my health, or when doctors have said to me in the past, like, oh, Dan, you're not going to be able to continue dancing because you're Crohn's disease. I'm like, you're not living in my body. You don't live in my pain. You don't know who I am. Actually,
I'll decide.
I'll show you. Every rejection, like jobs I've been seen, oh no, you might have a Crohn's flare. It's angered me. It's discrimination in some sense as well.
So what would you say to someone that has Crohn's, that is experiencing
this? Don't give up, and it's time to educate people in a world that now everyone is trying to understand disabilities and embrace it. And I don't know, like in the world we are in today, it should be accepted, it should be acknowledged. Someone should be helped through it. They shouldn't be turned down an opportunity because of it, especially with like a medical condition. You're already punished enough as it is, having to live with it. And I'd say don't give up, keep going. And soon there should be change. And that's why I'm so grateful to Strictly. Never have they ever seen my Crohn's disease. It's the only job I've ever had that really has, within the arts, that has gone like, don't worry about it, Aimee. If you become a British champion, you can come do Strictly Come Dancing. And they have never taken away an opportunity from me because of my Crohn's disease. And I think that is so important to represent, and for others to see little girls growing up and getting diagnosed and boys with Crohn's disease and be able to see me on the biggest entertainment show, biggest dance show in the world, and I've got Crohn's disease, and I get so many letters and messages on Instagram about that. And I hope that, because I didn't have anybody in the public eye whilst I was growing up, because it wasn't spoken about.
I think there's not much about it now. When I think of Crohn's, I do think of you, and I guess that's why we're here walking today. But let's flip the switch. We can steamroll past a turbulent 2 years, if you like, because I can imagine you're probably sick of talking about what you've had to go through.
Yeah, I'm not sick of it because I want to raise awareness, and hopefully help save lives, because early detection can save lives. And you don't get mammograms until you're in your 50s. So if I wasn't checking, I wouldn't be walking this mile with you today. So I want to get people checking, because if you're not checking, who is?
What would you say to someone that's maybe avoiding a potential screening or putting it off?
You wouldn't want to go through what I've been through. It's tough, losing your hair, your life going on hold. 18 months, it lives with me now every day, every ache, every pain, every symptom. I'm like, is my cancer back?
When you say every ache, every pain, expand on that.
Pain in my shoulder. You see so much of secondary cancer that's spread to the bones. Even flu-like symptoms, you're panicking. Just everything. The worry when you have your checkups, your blood tests. It will now dictate my life forever, because I've been put into menopause. I have to go every month for an injection, and it has to be the 4th Monday of every month. So planning a tour, planning a holiday, it does dictate your life forever.
I think that's something when it comes to cancer and life after cancer. When you get to ring that bell,
people think it's over.
It's over, but it's not.
People then not stop, but I think people were like, oh, you're fine then. So whilst I was having treatment, I spoke to so many other people since, and they said the same, everybody's checking in, everybody's there, like doing a bit to help out for you. My family, my husband. Then all of a sudden, when you finish that treatment and ring the bell, everyone just assumes you're fine, but actually, and I naively thought the same, like, yeah, that's it. Ringing a bell.
You're like, boom, done.
Moving on. And then little did I realise, chemo takes 6 weeks after every one I was on to work through the body. Weeks after, I never felt more like a cancer patient. Completely lost my hair, completely feeling every effect of chemo, broke my foot. And I just then realised, oh my goodness, no, now's the hard slog of actually getting my body back to what it was. Even doing this mile, I don't think I would have been able to do that during chemo. It was so exhausting, you're so tired. Actually, the hardest part was life after. And actually, when you're having chemo, you've got appointments every week.
So you're constantly being checked on, right?
And then all of a sudden, that stops. You're scared. You're thinking, and you've got to wait weeks for your scan, because you've got to wait for that last chemo to do its job.
So is there an air of worry now, because you're not having those scans and those checkups as frequently?
Chemo, you have to wait 6 weeks for your scan, and that 6 weeks is a scary.
That's a long period of time.
And that's when you've been used to going to the hospital every week, and you feel like you're doing something to get rid of the cancer, and then all of a sudden you're not. And it's so scary, and you're feeling more and more like a cancer patient. But saying that, there are so many amazing charities and nurses out there. The oncology unit at Good Hope Hospital, where I was looked after at the NHS, insane. I can remember turning up there one day, and it was, I think, 2 weeks after my chemo, and I had to go and pick up my medication. And I just walked onto the ward and just burst into tears, because I was scared. I didn't know. I'd broken my foot. I didn't know what my life now was going to look like. I didn't know what was going to be next. Strictly was going on. It was gearing up for the final. My life just felt further away from the Aimee I wanted, and I don't know, I had so much fear in my cancer, so much fear in me getting my life back in order, having to begin that stage of recovery. It just seemed like it was just a massive marathon that I didn't think I was going to be able to do. And I can just remember standing on that ward and bursting into tears, and the nurses just being amazing. Incredible charities out there, Macmillan, Copperfield, that are there for just not just you, but your loved ones as well. Because I don't think people also realise the impact it has on your loved ones. They go through it just as much as you.
I'm smiling because you describe it as a marathon.
Yeah.
But I feel instantly lifted because I know you survived the marathon.
Yes.
And you're here today sharing your story. And you have so boldly and confidently shared your story from the start. Did it scare you to have the cameras in and documenting? Aimee, that's so brave.
Thank you. I think because I did my Crohn's disease documentary, and I saw the impact that had on raising awareness, getting people to go to the hospital, to the GP if they had any bowel changes. And I saw what that did for our Crohn's and colitis community. So I knew the impact then that it could have had for the cancer, but also for breast cancer, especially in younger people.
But 6 days after your diagnosis, you open the doors
Yep.
and start documenting your journey.
Yep.
You had stage 3 cancer.
Well, I'd already been announced back on Strictly. It wasn't something I was going to be able to shy away from in the public eye anyway, because the reality of it, surgery, appointments, chemo, losing your hair, it was a ticking time bomb. And with the media and everything, I always wanted to be in control.
Did you ever doubt that you wouldn't survive, because you speak with such positive authority?
Many a times. It was so scary at the beginning when you're going from appointment to appointment. And at the start, I just felt like I wasn't getting a break. So you're diagnosed with cancer, and I had an amazing team. And the doctor, and he's so smart. He went, I think it's going to be a lumpectomy, Aimee, and radiotherapy. And I was like, okay, great.
Did you know what that meant?
Yes, because my mum's had breast cancer. So then my breast cancer is not linked to my mum's. And then I rang the exec of Strictly, and I thought I'd be on Strictly that year. I was like, gonna have a lumpectomy, then radiotherapy, and we literally thought I'd just miss a few of the rehearsals of the group numbers, and we were setting up a plan for me to be on a Strictly series. And I was just like, okay, had an MRI, there was more tumours. Then all of a sudden changed to a mastectomy. When I had my surgery, it went off to the pathology lab. There wasn't just ductal cancer, there was lobular cancer. Then they're talking chemotherapy. And I just didn't seem to be catching any break. I never felt like I was getting any good news in the whole situation.
It's literally blow after blow, after blow.
And then obviously, as soon as then they saying chemotherapy, I broke down. And I wasn't sure I was going to do it. And I knew then, well, that's Strictly gone. I'm not going to be doing Strictly if I have to have chemotherapy. I was scared about losing my hair. Chemotherapy is brutal. And I'd read so much that you're never the same again afterwards, what it does to your body. And I was just petrified. And I can remember going into the meeting with the doctor, the oncologist, and him just saying so bluntly, this is what you need. And then I was still not sure I wanted to do chemotherapy. And then he was like, if you do this, you've got a good chance of cure. So what do you mean if I do this, I have a good chance of cure? Because I thought after surgery, the cancer's out of me. And then that was that moment I was like, oh no, I really do have to do this. Actually, I went and stayed with Sarah Davis, a good friend of ours. And she was like, why wouldn't you do it? Tell me, you can get wigs for your head. And I think I was just scared, and I just knew that with chemo, my whole life was going to change. Strictly was, over for that year.
Yeah.
I was so lucky that obviously they had me back and supported me.
Not lucky, Aimee. You are a part of the furniture there.
Yeah. And then during my chemo, after my first chemo, I had sepsis. I went into septic shock, and my family were literally, and my husband was called Ben. I'd gone into hospital the night before via ambulance. On the Saturday night, my parents had gone very ill, and the doctor turned to my mum and was like, good job, she came in, she's very ill. About 2-3 o'clock in the morning, they said to my mum, I had an infection, but a virus, and they thought I was going to be okay. They'd put me on antibiotics, because during chemo, a cold can kill you, because you have no white blood cells, you can't fight. They said to my mum I was going to be okay, things were looking okay for her to go. And 9 o'clock in the morning, the doctor called Ben and said, is she okay? Am I going to be able to come and pick her up? He said, no, she's got sepsis. And earlier that year, we'd lost my auntie to sepsis and a blood clot in the lung. And then the doctor went, and we're just sending her down for a scan. We think she's got a blood clot on her lung.
Aimee.
My parents fell to the floor. My husband went into protection mode for them, because he literally thought my dad was about to have a heart attack. He literally got them in the car, come to the hospital. They got to the hospital, looked in the room for me. I wasn't there. Mum, Dad and Ben raced to the doctor. During this conversation, my mum had to walk away. The doctor went, she's not very good. She's not responding to the medication. Her heart rate is so low and her blood pressure that after 16 hours, her organs will go into failure. My mum had to walk away. And Ben is like, shut up.
Are you conscious in this moment?
I have no idea what's going on.
No idea what's going on.
And I'm glad. So it was harder for my family than it was for me, because I was so unaware. So when I come round, and they told me the next day that I had sepsis and went into septic shock, I said, you need to tell my parents. And they were like, they know, they were here. The doctor said, ICU are getting involved, intensive care getting involved. So my parents just went into meltdown. Ben was telling the doctors, no, you don't know Aimee. She does have low blood pressure, but you don't know Aimee. She's going to be fine. like literally telling the doctors, and my dad's like saying to Ben, like, let him talk, like, but Ben's like, no, they don't know Aimee.
Wow.
And I'd come back, and my mum and dad, I think, could see how ill I was. I was swollen, I looked like my auntie. And I think that scared my mum and really upset my mum, brought everything back of her suddenly losing her sister, who went in for a knee replacement, got sepsis and passed away so quickly. And we're a very close family.
You genuinely couldn't write it.
No, I also
Cancer,
had passed
sepsis, Crohn's,
Yeah.
everything's going on.
Yep. Well,
At the same
ICU
time.
team come in and was like, when did she last pass urine? And I had a catheter, and they were like, in 24 hours, and that's like then signs that your kidney and everything that's going into failure. But in the last hour, the ICU team changed my antibiotic, and I started to respond. And my heart rate came up, my blood pressure slightly, and the doctor said, this is a good sign. She's not out of the woods yet. They said they can't take a dip again. In the middle of the night, I took a dip again. My mum and dad, Ben didn't leave my side at the hospital. My mum said she went home that night and just like cried. And they didn't really sleep. And then the next morning, I was much better. I felt very, very ill, don't get me wrong. But then that's when I was scared again during chemo, because that was after my first chemo. And then I did develop blood clots. And it was like, even during chemo, you can get things like sepsis and illness or blood clots that can. And I felt like I had it all. I then developed blood clots. Like, you know, you're constantly scared. My mum and dad wanted to like bubble wrap me for like as much as time as
You didn't want to be wrapped though, did you?
And they didn't want me to go anywhere or take risks or anything like that. They literally wanted to take me home and like isolate me. They were so scared. And literally, like, I'll never forget like seeing the pain in their eyes when I come around after sepsis, and how, you know, and I still see it now in them, like how scared they was. You just can't imagine it, can you? So yeah, many times I thought like I wasn't sure was I going to be here. Many times, you know, when you have a scan and the doctor calls you. Even in May last year when I had my MRI, and you know they'd found something, and I had to go in for more biopsies, and I can remember, was it August, or somebody said to me watching my documentary, they were like, we saw the date on the hospital computer screen of when the doctor said you were right. It was like 11 days before we started Strictly. You know, I was called back in, I had biopsies, they'd found a change in my other breast. And, you know, you hear the doctor saying in the documentary, if this is cancer, this is going to be a very difficult conversation for us to Aimee. But like, you know, even that, like in May, I had my regular routine. They found some, had to go in for biopsies. I was thinking, here we go again. And I was just gearing up to start Strictly. My life was just back on track.
Let's fast forward. You got the good news in May. It's
well, not
August.
in May, it was July.
Okay, July.
Yeah.
You rang the bell
Yes, you were there.
at your Ring the Bell party in August.
It was a good night, wasn't it?
It was such a good night. I'm still smiling. The positive energy and love for what you have achieved. It's an achievement. You survived,
Yeah.
Ames, and you're back.
Yeah,
You
it's doing what I
danced
love.
this year, 2024. Talk to me about the purpose that dancing and Strictly has given you. That fight.
It's been my saviour. Dance throughout my Crohn disease and my cancer battle has been my saviour. Because at the darkest of times, it's what's pushed me to get out of bed.
Even last year, coming back.
Yeah, it is like, you know, that feeling, that bit in Strictly, like with those words of Aimee, you got cancer, it was like, I want to get back on Strictly on the dance floor. And that has been my goal. So, you know, I think having a goal, and I say this to so many people who get diagnosed, even if that goal is to go on holidays, have something that you're working towards. Because throughout those dark times that you can like fixate yourself on, I had it like written on my fridge. And my to-do list, and I had a list. Ring the bell, Strictly, tour.
Holiday?
I had it all.
So holiday?
Yeah, we went on holidays as well. Actually, that was on the list. And like, I'd remind myself, and I used to say what Tom Hanks says, this too shall pass. Another saying of mine is, don't get bitter, get better. I couldn't change it. Did I often think, this is so unfair, I've already been dealt so much already in my life, like why me? So many times I'd say that, why me? But I can't change it, so if I get bitter, that's not gonna help me.
Is there an element now where you can look at this horrific experience and go, it was me, because I've been given the gift to share my story to change other people's lives? Because to me, that's very evident when I think of you, because there's very few people on this planet could stand as bold and courageously as you have through this.
Thank you. I'm not sure. I've tried to always turn a negative into a positive. I don't know why me, and I think everyone always asks that every cancer patient, but I guess I've just tried to turn always what's a negative into a positive. And with my cancer, it was, right, let's go and raise awareness, just try and save lives. And I get messages like every day on Instagram, people saying, because if you have checked myself or I'm going to the GP, that alone goes, oh, it was so worth it then, spreading the message, raising awareness. Or people saying, I haven't gone for my mammogram, but I'm going because of you.
Aimee, that's incredible.
Yeah, even
like you can have that
I get
impact.
all the pros checking themselves and like making sure that they do. I'll walk in and be like, you all checked yourself recently?
Get your tits
Boys,
up.
of you.
That's a really beautiful full circle moment to be able to have that impact. When it comes to throwing it back to the Crohn's and being on the steroids and that nail in the wood, surely that's got to make that nail in the wood a little bit lighter.
Yeah, and I guess
when you...
And also, actually now, going on steroids, I've lost my hair, I've gained, quite a bit of weight because I needed to be healthy and to be able to survive the brutal chemo. I felt like my entire identity, my feminine side, I personally felt, just me inside. Now when I go on steroids, I'm like, oh, am I really going to worry about that? I've lost my boob, do you know what I mean? Like, if I gain an extra pound or look puffy, really in the grand scheme of things. And now I look at it as, I am so proud of my body, and that is what has got me through, and it survived. And I didn't put myself under pressure for struggling last year to be a certain weight again. It was, I'm going to get back to being fit and healthy, and I'm going to take my time. I'm not going to be hard on myself, and I'm proud of my body for what it's got me through. It'll get me through. Do you know what I mean? A dancing show. And actually only recently now is my body back to the size and I think it's physically getting to where it was before cancer. But I didn't put pressure on myself in getting there by a certain time because my body had already been through so much. I wanted to be kind to myself and to my body. And I think I have learned that throughout this cancer journey.
And that is so, so important when it comes to body image, because we often put so much pressure on looking a certain way.
We do, yeah. And I think there is this pressure of how you should look as a dancer. And no, fit and healthy is what you need to be. There's no perfect look for a dancer. Being a certain size or looking a certain way doesn't define anyone's talent.
You're most definitely fit and healthy. You are about to start the Strictly Come Dancing live tour.
Yeah.
You're dancing with JB and Lauren. There's two of you.
Yes.
He's got two partners. He's a lucky gent. Two ladies. But also, you've got a little tour.
Yes,
I say little, it's rather large.
Yes.
With Carlos Gu. Tell us a little bit about that.
So we got Reborn, and basically Reborn defines us. I'm reborn. I feel as a new person after my cancer journey and everything.
I feel light instantly.
Yeah. And it's for Carlos moving to the UK, he's been able to be true to himself. He's been able to be Carlos Gu. And I've watched him become true to himself, and I'm so proud of him, with sexuality, with just, he says like China, he's from China, but the UK is his home. And he feels reborn since moving to the UK. He's part of my family, spent the last 2 Christmases with us. He calls my mum and dad Mama, Papa. And we can't wait to share our love for dance, but our life and our experiences on stage. And yes, there's going to be some emotional moments, but there's going to be so much joy and uplift. And for us to express our favourite styles and music, and hopefully for the audience to learn so much more about us and our friendship. And we've got an amazing cast of dancers, we've got an incredible singer, and do you know what, to be able to be back out performing up close and live in theatres is something so special and so personal about that. And the adrenaline rushes, being on stage. I cannot wait. And 2025 is looking good. So 2025 just sounds like a good year, doesn't it? For me, I'm like, it's going to be...
Aimee, 2025 is your year.
Do I'm just grateful to be here and, take on every opportunity, spend time with my loved ones. And be grateful for every sunrise, every sunset. Challenges will come, but do you know what?
And being back on the dance floor physically, that must feel like such almost like an achievement.
Oh, it really does.
Does it make you look at dancing differently?
Yeah.
Everything you've been through?
Yeah, like I truly know what it feels like to have my dancing taken away from me and the fear of not getting back on that dance floor. So yeah, you just reap up every beat, every moment on that dance floor. And I feel like recently how I want to explore more, improve more. My passion's become, I don't know how that was even possible, but even greater. And how I realised, you know what, no, I've still got so much more to give. And I think I've learned that as well recently.
That's a really exciting place to be.
Yeah.
In life.
Absolutely.
To have that passion for what you do professionally.
Yeah, I'm like as well, like,
That's
I don't want to
almost
just
like,
get back to the Aimee before cancer. I want to get back to an even better version of the Aimee before cancer.
what can we
And
expect?
kind of like, ha to you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I really want to go away and learn styles I've never pushed myself.
Like what?
Commercial is not like a style.
Oh,
that
that's
really,
that's
yes,
sort of like,
that's it.
I've got that in
more
the
quite
bag.
like traditional woman, Latin and ballet. Like, I'd really like to go down that avenue, see different styles of me.
Are we likely to see any of that on the Reborn tour?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
No way!
Yeah.
Okay, so when can
And
we...
maybe like you're gonna see like obviously like lyrical side of me,
Lyrical?
yeah, like contemporary balletic, soft side, and you know like the elegant Aimee and the cute girly girl Aimee. But actually, you're also gonna see quite a sexy woman.
Oh,
strong,
go
fierce,
on.
like the animal inside me coming out as well.
That is
On
very
stage.
exciting. All right, so 2025 is looking sexy.
Yeah.
I can imagine Carlos Gu saying that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and he's gonna probably want to do everything. Or like the sexy numbers that I've got to say like solos, you know. You can imagine I want to be in that too. I want to do that move too.
Or he'll be like, I'll just be on it on my own, right?
Yeah. How can I say? A day with Carlos Gu, as you know. It's always an interesting but fun one.
Do you like travelling?
Yeah, I do. I really love travelling, actually.
If I was to give you the keys
Yes.
to freedom, to go on the ultimate Michelin-fueled adventure,
Yeah.
you can go anywhere with 3 people and do anything,
Yes.
where would you go?
I'd go to Australia.
Oh yeah. Have you
Never
been before?
No, but my twin sister moved out there for a few years and she had the time of her life. And my family went out and visited her. I wasn't able to at the time, unfortunately, and I'd love to go and experience it. And the 3 people I'd go with is Carlos,
Yeah.
my twin sister,
Amazing.
and my husband, Ben.
Go on.
Yes.
Are you driving the whole way there?
No.
No.
Absolutely enough.
Flight and then you drive
yes.
and explore
And then my husband will drive.
when you get there. Aimee, we are on the Monday Mile Walk and Talk podcast. We like to ask all of our guests what their relationship is like with Monday. Do you like a Monday?
I do.
Yeah?
I really like a Monday. I think being a dancer and a competitive dancer, you'd have a competition on a Sunday. So then you'd learn from that Sunday what went wrong. And a Monday was like, you know, the new goals, new start. And it's like on Strictly as well, Monday, new dance. Yeah, I like Mondays.
Don't the celebs often say that the Monday
Is torture for them.
Yeah.
Because it's a new work. I like, you know, that new challenge. I love a challenge. So Mondays for me, it's like, yeah, it's the start of a new week, it's a new challenge.
well, strong, seeing as we are on the Monday Mile podcast. We love that. We love to hear you love a Monday. We also like to ask all of our guests if they have a life motto or quote that they live by
Yep.
that you can share with our listeners. You did mention one.
Don't get bitter, get better. This too shall pass. And fail to prepare, prepare to fail.
Fail to prepare, prepare to fail. That is strong. I can literally almost envisage myself doing that and it going wrong. Have you got an example of where you've done that before?
Well, it's like exams. If you don't prepare, you don't revise. How can you expect, you know, pass? If you don't learn your routine for a Saturday night, how can you expect to get good scores with the judges?
It's not going to
You
happen.
can't go and pass a driving test without putting in the work and the lessons.
Did you pass your driving test first time?
No, second time. A little bit better about it because my twin sister passed first time.
How about theory?
First time, yes.
Okay, I'm the opposite.
Okay.
Didn't revise for the theory, smashed the physical.
Yay.
Aimee Dowden, thank you so much for joining us here on the Monday Mile Walk and Talk podcast.
Thanks for having me.
It has been an absolute privilege to walk around your newer hometown, show us the canals. I believe you've got quite a big day ahead of you.
I do, yep, press run, dress run.
So we must walk you back to the bus, have the most epic time on tour, and also the most fun on tour with the Goo.
Yeah.
Reborn.
Thank you.
Monday Mile listeners, you know what to do. Do make sure you are subscribed. The audio drops every single Monday morning at 12 a.m. for the early risers. So make sure you tune in and walk and talk with us. Monday Mile listeners, it is a wrap.